Hello everyone and welcome to the very first episode of Three Promoters, One Pod with myself, Gavin McInally of Damnation Festival, my co-host
James Scarlett of Arctangent and 2000 Trees.
And our special guest
Kam from Live Nation and Download Festival.
There we are. So it's got to be a good one today, guys. We have got a professional promoter with us finally.
How about that?
So Kam, the floor's yours to start with. Who are you? What's your background? What do you do at Download? Tell the listeners.
So, I'm a senior promoter at Live Nation, so I do a lot of the touring and for rock and metal bands for Live Nation. So, the likes of Parkway Drive, Ghost, Gojira, Architects, all that sort of stuff, and then I book the majority of rock and metal on Download. So work alongside Andy Copping, Jenny Danica, and our new team member Phoebe. Okay, and well, I've known you a long time, but you're back. You came through a very independent route as well, didn't you? Your background from the Manchester scene. Yeah, so I started off promoting shows in Manchester about I think 22 years ago now. So I started off working with Marius actually, who does your tech and production at Damnation. So Marius was the first person I started doing shows with. Started off working out box office with him, doing his local hardcore shows, and ended up working with him for a couple of years. And then Marius ended up stopped promoting shows; he didn't want to do it anymore. So I carried on myself, and then ended up what started off as a hobby ended up becoming a full-time job. And I was doing started off doing local shows, and then ended up like at my peak probably doing about, I don't know, 250 shows a year or something like that.
So that was you were still independent at that point?
Yeah, that's when I was still independent. Yeah, so I was doing everything from from 100 cap club shows right up to Manchester Apollo. So 3,500 caps. So
amazing.
And when did that become? When did the Live Nation come calling, or was there somewhere in between that period of being independent to Live Nation?
No, the Live Nation thing came out of the blue, and I thought, funnily enough, it was like 2016 or 2017. I remember waking up one morning having two missed calls off two different agents at like 8 a.m. in the morning. I was like, fucking hell, what's going on here? And then I had a DM from Andy Copping saying, what's your number? I need to speak to you. So I was like, what the fuck have I done here? Have I really fucked up someone at Live Nation? And it turns out he wanted to offer me a job basically. So
When was this? So when did you get started with Live Nation?
So I think it was mid 2017, I think it was. So it would have been it's like 7 years now.
So did that come out of the blue? You didn't see it coming. There was no build up. It was just like bang.
Yeah, there was no build up at all. Like it literally came out of the blue. I mean, there was a couple other people up for the job as well, but like I was shocked, and I thought actually someone was catfishing me at first.
We must have missed our DMs, James. When
you missed a note.
Next time.
I had no missed calls from any agents and no DM behind the copy.
Mate, you're unmanageable. I don't think we've established already that you can't be managed. You need to be the leader.
I do need to operate in my own terms. No one would want to have me on board. So great. Listen, we massively appreciate you jumping on and doing this with Kam. It's we want to talk about a lot of stuff that we have spoke about on all the previous before that podcast before this one, but on your level. So I'm operating in a 6,000 capacity venue. James is operating up to 15,000 capacity, and then obviously using up to, what is Download, 80,000?
90,000 actually.
Right. I mean, it's the big leagues. So yes, we'll touch on a lot of that. But you were just across in Austria, weren't you?
Yeah, I went. Well, it was a bit more of a family holiday, but I was across in Austria to see Metallica. Because I work with Five Finger Death Punch and Ice Nine Kills, and I work on people as well who are opening up that show. But incredible to see Metallica like opening up with what was it? They opened up with Whiplash, then went into Creeping Death, then went into From the Bell Tolls, then into Sandman. So those first four bangers, Jesus.
Is your last few days matched up to that, James? Dealing with builders?
No, not at all. Not at all. Are they still firing on all cylinders? I thought they were properly back to form.
I mean,
Yeah.
James sounded amazing. They all looked amazing. I mean, look, he looks like a bit of a heavy metal granddad these days.
Yeah.
But I mean, he still looks fucking awesome on stage. So yeah.
And is
Yeah,
that
they were fantastic at Download last year. Really, really like after some ropey years, in my opinion, I thought they were properly back on form.
I
Really
mean, yeah,
brilliant.
those two sets at Download were unreal. And yeah, like again, Metallica are probably my favorite ever band. So yeah, like yeah, those two shows were very special.
and when are we with that, James? Is it who's the best, Iron Maiden or Metallica? Well, let's start a fight
No,
early.
no. It's not even a conversation. It's Metallica.
Oh, it's Metallica, is it?
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
that's a tough one for me, actually. They're both like on par almost.
but
Well,
I mean, the best Metallica, when Metallica are at their best, I don't think any metal band can touch them really. But
surely the Machine Head on the blackening.
mate, I don't know if you know this, Cam, but we talk about Machine Head every week, including this week.
Yeah, I was really upset one year when I had Machine Head play at the same time as Damnation.
Oh, but the background of that. So Cam and I have got on for years. So we've always known, not close enough that it would ever come on Damnation Versus, but we've been close. We're close enough for years. We've always had a
You
good.
tried to get me on there a few times to say that.
It was always a very polite maybe. So Cam booked some of the biggest fucking shows you've ever seen on the day at Damnation. He had the Slayer one that was like, no, was it like Lamb of God with
Oh yeah, it was Lamb of God, Slayer, and Anthrax, and what's it? Obituary.
like
That was
a
it.
big four, and then he had one year. I think he had Behemoth and Leeds the same day, and he also had Machine Head. And I was like, Cam, you're trying to kill me off here, pal. I mean, I know it's all professional, but you're gonna eat my kids
It
get
was,
fed.
it was all calculated, mate. Just wanted to see the end of you.
But I hung out like a cockroach, like a cockroach. We hung in there, man. So, I will to match, not to match the Mighty Metallica, obviously, but I was at Tool last night at the O2, which I believe is that Andy's. Is that Andy's
Yeah,
show?
that was Andy Coffin's show. Yeah, my boss. Yeah.
That was excellent. That was my first time ever being in the O2 as well. So I usually do everything I can to stay out of London, but we went down there and it was a great venue and tour. And they're just in that upper echelon of the types of bands, don't they? They're just people that are just they're spectacular. Even when the set list is, I mean, you would like to have a wee bit more from the older albums. You'll only get maybe one or two tracks at most, but even that, it's still utterly fantastic.
I mean, the sound is always unreal as well for Tool. Like, I've never heard a band sound that good live.
It's right off there, mate. So,
Were you happy with the set list? Because it was quite new album focused, right?
yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, if 2019 they released that Fear Inoculum, but just because people still refer to that album from 5 years ago as their new album, you know what I mean? Like, it just came out last summer. But it's not my favourite. I would much prefer 2 or 3 tunes off Lateralus. And also, they're doing We Get 46 and 2 last night, which is obviously spectacular. But that was getting switched out with Anima and Stinkfist rather than having Anima and Stinkfist also in the set, which would be better, obviously. But Tool are going to be Tool, and it was a special show. Tell Andy, or don't tell Andy anything. Ask Andy politely, can I get up to Glasgow next time, because that was 9 hours in a train that I could have done without, especially the 4.5 back up today.
No, next time, hopefully, we'll get them to play Glasgow for you.
That would be great. For me personally, it would be wonderful. James, we've got questions specific for Cam. People are excited
Yep.
about having the big man on the podcast, so let's get through some of them.
Let's do it. Nathan Wade, he says, what would a band need to achieve to be considered for an early slot on the Dogtooth stage? So Cam, we've talked a bunch on the podcast about how bands get seen by festivals and booked by festivals, and like what's your, I mean, I guess most of the bands even playing on the smaller stages at Download are pretty established and have got albums out and stuff. But what do a band need to do to play that stage?
I mean, ideally sound good. But no, I mean, it's a tough one. Like our booking process, we've got obviously a booking team, and like I said, we've got Jenny, Danica, Andy, myself, and Phoebe that booked the festival. And I mean, we book by committee, and it's like if one of us will bring a band to a meeting and say, look, I really like the sound of this band, and we'll all make a decision, say where you want to put them on the festival, or if they they fit with their download audience and whatnot. But I'll be honest with you, like the main focus is if it sounds good, we'll book it. Basically, for me, I'm always trolling the internet, going to shows. I go to like 5 or 6 shows a week sometimes, and sometimes 2 or 3 shows in one night. So I'm always out there looking for new bands and looking to pick up on stuff. I forever trolling Spotify, Reddit, wherever to pick up on bands. I mean, like thinking back, like over the years, we had like the Who play there an early slot, like the Mongolian, the Who, not the Who, my generation, the Who.
Yeah.
But I remember I found them on Reddit. Like I found one of their videos on YouTube and via Reddit. And I was like, who the fuck's this band and where they come from? And it took me ages to track down like an agent manager because they had no real contacts. Like they just had a Hotmail address, I think it was, that I managed to get hold of someone. And yeah, I ended up booking them for download off the back of that, basically.
Amazing.
So when you're getting at it, it's like your Knife Bride or Harper. I mean, most people from the outside looking at them be like big connections managed by the same people that manage your Metallicas and Iron Maidens, and it's all sort of slap in the back and get these slots for the bands. But what you're saying there about the Who, and then also you went to, was it Norway or Denmark, and you saw that death metal band, is it Necker, or however?
Yeah, Necker, yeah.
But that was literally you just being in the crowd and seeing that band and saying they're
yeah,
amazing.
He very well. I was like, you need to check this band out.
Exactly. So I mean, it is quite, there is a purity to it as well. It's not quite as incestuous and well, you'll do a favour for you. It can be as innocent and as pure as you being a music fan and going and seeing a bunch of young death metal kids knocking out the park and then saying, right, I'm going to book them for the full stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean look, Celestial Sanctuary, they're opening up our Saturday, and I mean they're like a heavy death metal band. And I picked up on them just from friends of friends who said, "Oh, you need to check these guys out. They sound fucking amazing." So yeah.
And what's the inbox like? Because you've got like me, James and I have been talking about this. You're getting battered continuously. I mean, for us to be battered with that many bands and agents, I mean, for you guys, it just must be an absolute sea.
I mean, we get punished. Although Andy did put my actual email address on his Instagram stories recently by mistake, and I got a deluge. I don't know how the fuck he managed to do it, but I think he copy and pasted my email address by mistake, trying to tag me on an Instagram story.
Did it end in chaos?
I had loads of random people email me their bands to play their
What was it? I can't remember that the band we were using as an example where you're just getting that tagged continuously, all your friends getting sent to, I was Butcher Killer, everybody just sending Cam book this band. You're like, mate, come on, it's fucking, it doesn't, if it's not going to work at Damnation, it's definitely not working for Download, mate. Right, Ray Dennis is asking now, I've got the state, because today you announced that Download Sunday has sold out, so congrats on that. And I believe that the official stage times are out now too.
Yeah, people are pissed about some of the clashes, but it's tough. I mean, like, Jesus Christ.
We are going to get to clash.
Yeah, we'll get into that further.
Not specifics because we've not had a chance to, but we're going to get to how you guys come up with your clashes. But this, just because, the reason I'm saying this is because of the way this is worded. What's the reasoning for stopping every stage except the main stage by 9 p.m. in recent years? Now, if these are the real stage times that I've got in front of me, that's not the case for this year. So maybe answer it retrospectively and what the difference is to this year.
I mean, sometimes it's because a headliner asks for it. Sometimes the headliner doesn't want any other acts playing at the same time as them. So that's one reason, I suppose. Like, and then also one of the main reasons for stage 2 is like we've got a vehicle curfew in place usually, so it makes it makes it tougher for bands to leave that stage 2 compound. It's like almost like an island on its own, because we've got exit points for the crowd going through like the roads that lead up to that stage. So like we have to shut that early so people can leave safely without like anybody getting run over by a truck or anything like that.
That's interesting, right? So that little, like, there's that little cut through to the left of stage 2, isn't there?
Yeah.
So that has to remain open.
Yeah, that has to remain open for crowd exiting, basically. Yeah. for egress.
So it's in the interest to download to get that stage finished as quickly as possible anyway, regardless of whether Fall Out Boy or Iron Maiden or MD saying like we don't want someone to play at the same time. It suits you guys for crowd safety to have that shut early.
Yeah, we usually have a vehicle curfew from like I think it's 10:30 or so, just so when the crowd are leaving, so they can leave safely, basically.
Okay. And to answer his question from the past and the present, so if you've got a headline band that come to you, be it Slipknot to Fall Out Boy, and they say, look, we would prefer that bands don't play when we play, then that's a consideration it's taken in.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like this year, I mean, like Heilung, we have playing the second stage on the Friday. They wanted to play in darkness, so well as dark as possible. It's mainly dusk they're going to be playing in, but yeah, we couldn't get them on stage anytime before 8 p.m. So that's why that stage is running later on the Friday.
Right. Okay. And then Funeral for a Friend who have just came in for. I never saw the reasoning for Bad Omens was it have they cancelled all their dates?
Yeah, they've cancelled everything. I think it's just mental burnout more than anything. I think they've been on tour for the last 2 years continuously, so I think something had to give, and yeah, they need some time off.
Okay. James?
Okay, let's go. Greg Blakely. With much bigger bands now on the Dogtooth stage compared to years ago, is there any scope to increase the tent size and potentially move it maybe to where the third stage used to be? It's quite interesting them calling it small because I was in it last year watching Empire State Bastard and Brutus, and I think it's the Arctangent main stage. It's like your tiny stage is our main stage. So it's not tiny.
So we actually increased the size of the stage last year, basically to accommodate the size of production of the bigger bands we haven't playing there now. And previously weren't able to get rolling risers on the stage, so it made changeovers difficult. It wasn't easy, basically. I remember Batushka back in 2019 trying to get all their gear off stage was an absolute nightmare before Cock played. But now the stage 4 Dogtooth stage, we've got bigger production, better lights, bigger front of house footprint as well. So yeah, bands can use their own front of house desks and whatnot. So yeah, I think we struggled with that stage for the last couple of years previously, trying to get everything on there and make bands fit basically. But now it's become its own thing now, and it's a much bigger setup.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, and we're not having you on this podcast to then slag off download, but pre the Kam years, the Dogtooth stage, in my opinion, did look like that. Wherever everything else went, you know what I mean? Can it fit you on here? Can it fit you? And you could get right up to almost the top and not really have bands you'd heard of. And then I don't know if this is coincidence for when you come in, but now it's Obituary and Electric Wizard and Carcass and Testament and Thy Art is Murder and these genuinely big bands. And that stage just didn't seem to be fit for purpose, but now you've got it to. I mean, I'm hoping to get there this year, so I'll see it in person. But it's that stage. I remember messaging you when you first get the job, says, "Please don't make a Dogtooth stage like Damnation because I want to stay in a job." Like, don't worry, Gav, don't worry, Gav. And then the next year it was like Carcass.
You gave him the idea, mate.
Yeah. It just literally.
I was like, there's no way if Cam's getting influence of booking this stage, there's no way it's going to keep being the same way it's been in previous years. And I was fucking right. I was absolutely right.
Sorry, mate. I was just stealing your ideas.
Oh, man. Listen, as I say, we're cockroaches. The Damnation cockroach will continue. So, this is a question from both an Alan Bradford and Nina Saeed. And they're asking the same thing. I've sort of reworded it for them. So, it's the same. So what bands would be... So, you're in our shoes. You are doing... You've not got a full lineup, but you're booking Damnation this year. You'll be booking Arctangent. You're booking 2000 Trees. What kind of bands would you pick, Kam Haq, to show us some success?
I mean, fucking hell, it's a tough one. You guys book all my favorite bands already. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ, the 2022 lineup you had for Damnation was like 4 of my favorite bands playing 4 of my favorite albums in full. Like, At the Gates, Converge, Godflesh, Pig Destroyer. I was like, fuck me. It's like my ultimate lineup. And then again, Arctangent. I mean, this year we've got what, Meshuggah, Mogwai, Electric Wizard, Baroness, Explosions in the Sky. I mean, fuck, it's hard to top those lineups. So, I mean, you guys do an incredible job already. So, I mean, one band probably Neurosis, but I doubt that's ever going to happen again, unfortunately. But yeah, maybe that.
I mean, all the controversies aside, that's a band that worked for both events as well. I mean, Neurosis just one of those ones that always slipped between the cracks before the shit hit the fan with that band. But that would have been a great one. And there's never been a Neurosis at Art Tangent, was there?
No, they're like in my first, the first set of emails you send every year until it all
The
kicked
wish
off.
list.
Yeah, they were like top of the wish list. But yeah, it never really got anywhere. So yeah, I don't think it's ever going to happen now, is it? I don't know.
Unfortunately not.
And this is definitely good. You know how we always do the snippets and the wee clips of it. You saying that we book our festivals perfectly is going to be the one that goes out.
It's my personal taste, anyway. I should say.
Yeah, don't sell any tickets, Gavin. But,
I mean, yeah, Neurosis would be the one. I mean, I've been lucky enough to work with them a bunch of times. I used to do all their shows in London, and yeah, the last time I had him play was Neurosis, Godflesh, and also, oh yeah, it was Yob, Neurosis, and Godflesh together. That lineup was unreal.
Yeah, that's a lineup.
That is a fucking lineup. So I'm sure if I'm ever, not that Paul couldn't book a good Damnation anyway, but if I'm ever unwell for any reason, we'll give you a shout, Cam, okay? And we can get that Pig Destroyer set sorted again.
Absolutely.
Okay, Joe Harrington says, which smaller up and coming bands do you think could headline Download in the next 5 to 10 years?
Jesus, you put me on the spot here. I mean, it's hard to say because so much can change in that time. I mean, right off the top of my head, this Swedish band Orbit Culture, there's something really cool happening with them. We did a tour for them earlier this year, and the whole tour sold out instantly, pretty much. So they're definitely ones to watch. On a slightly bigger scale, Knock Loose, I think, is absolutely exploding right now.
Amazing.
Their album's just one of the most abrasive and heavy albums that's charting everywhere. It's crazy. I can't believe a band that's kind of doubled down on their heaviness. Everybody thought they were going to sell out on this record, but they've just gone heavier. And it just basically it almost sounds like the production almost sounds like Jane Doe Converge style because it's so abrasive. But yeah, they're ones that could possibly blow up and explode. And then trying to think anybody else.
Can you imagine them being like, because I've listened to a bunch of that new album and it is really abrasive, like you say. Can you imagine them like doing a Slipknot and being that size?
I mean, who knows? It could happen. I mean, yeah. I mean, no one imagined Slipknot being as big as they've become. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing them on that first album tour back in 2000. I was like, wow, this is as big as it's going to get, but it's fucking insane. And then literally a year later, 2 years later, they were playing arenas. So yeah, who knows?
I thought is Sleep Token just too obvious an answer because they already seem like they're there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, Sleep Token, I think, will be headlining Download before that. That's, I mean, their trajectory is insane. Again, a band I've pretty much done every show for them, like since I first started, and seeing what they've become now is absolutely bonkers. I mean, like, I remember like we did Shepherd's Bush in 2021, just after the pandemic, and that sold out basically the week of the show, I think it was. And then we went into we went into Brixton after that, and I was really worried. I was like, oh God, are we going to be able to sell out Brixton? Because Brixton's like 95,000 cap. And we did like I think 3,000 tickets in the first day for that show. And then that was for the start of 2023. And then they brought out those 4 singles off Take Me Back to Eden. They dropped those like 4 singles and the whole place went bananas. Like, I mean, we sold 1,000 tickets basically in a week for that Brixton show, which ended up being at Hammersmith in the end. And then the whole tour basically sold out. And then we did, was it May last year, we announced Wembley, which sold out in 10 minutes. We did 10,000 tickets.
Ridiculous. And in credit to that band, then they stuck on some of the so-called smaller festivals, and I'd put Damnation in that circuit as well, but your Radars and on it down. I mean, a lot of bands would be like, you know what, we're the kind of band that now sell at Wembley in 10 minutes where this doesn't do anything for us anymore. But I'll always think credit to Sleep Token for, and everyone involved with Sleep Token for honouring those commitments.
No, absolutely. I mean, yeah, Radar Festival, they played that, was it end of June, was it?
Last
Last June?
year? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
last year they were already fucking headlining Wembley and they're playing with
Yeah,
Radar.
exactly. They'd already sold out Wembley at that point, yeah, which is crazy. And I remember saying to the guys, I was like, this is probably the smallest show you're gonna play in a long time now.
Yeah.
Fuck it,
But
honestly.
that was headlining Radar, which is like what, 3,500 cap room. So
But when you look around the crowd at those shows, the Sleep Token shows, are you seeing a big crossover with like a download audience, or do you think it's a new download audience, or how do you see it?
it's there are a lot of like I don't know. There's friends of mine who are like completely what I describe not your typical like download goer, or like just they're quite, I don't know, just average normal people who don't go to like rock gigs or concerts or whatever, or festivals, yet they love Sleep Token. I'm like, how did you guys discover this band?
Absolutely. My brother and his girlfriend do not give a shit about metal music. Couldn't tell you a Metallica or Iron Maiden tune,
Yeah.
and they're wearing Sleep Token merch. And they've got tickets for the Hydro at the end of the year. And they're going to me, make sure you get your tickets for Sleep Token, Gavin. I'm like, for fuck's sake.
I mean,
It's okay, mate. I know the promoter.
Yeah.
but it's amazing. Like it's very rare you see. I mean, in our world, in rock music and metal in general, it's very, very rare you see a band explode like that. It's always a slow grind. I mean, I was thinking back, like Architects and well, sorry, Bring Me the Horizon. It took them like 10 years to get to arenas. It took Architects, like I think was it 14 years when I had them play Ali Pali as a band when they first started off from like starting off clubs and then working their way up. It took them like 14 years to get to Ali Pali. And then you got Sleep Token who've done it in less like, well, I don't know, what is it? When the first headline show I had him play was in October 2018, and then they headlined Wembley in December 2023. So that's like 5 years.
Yeah, and they had a pandemic to deal with in the middle of that as well, where no
Yeah,
one could do
independent.
jack
Yeah, yeah,
shit.
didn't shows. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. I mean, Sleep Token, and it's great to. I mean, it's great to see. You get. I mean, obviously, when anybody gets that big, it's always like, oh, is it really metal music and all that kind of nonsense. But like, just enjoy the fact it's happening. You know what I mean? And these,
Oh, I mean, look, it's great for the whole scene as a whole. It's like, I mean, it brings a focus on rock music in general.
yeah,
So yeah,
someone's going to listen to Sleep Token and like some of the heavier stuff, and then go
yeah,
from
exactly.
that
And they
to
might
maybe an
work. Yeah,
Architects. And if you go down to Architects, I mean, for me, it was calling the Limp Biscuit, and the next thing you know, you're listening to Raging Speed Storm and Charger. Sleep Token are taking people on that path. Now, they might not all
yeah,
make
yeah.
it to damnation, but if any of them do, then I'm all in.
Yeah, yeah. Next thing you know, they're buying a ticket for Damnations.
Yes, yes, and more of that action, please. The final question from the fans, and then we'll get into the topic of dissecting download, and we'll go through everything that's happened to download with you. From a Kyle Finnerty, where do you see the festival going now that the legends are retiring? But I assume it means these Metallicas and Kisses and Guns N' Roses. I mean, if they are retiring, I mean, then they just spoke about them. They're still very active, but at some point, the day is going to come that these bands have been headlining these festivals now for 30 years won't be there. Is it harder for download? I mean, this is probably a good year for an example because you've got these new ones coming like Fall Out Boy, Avenged Sevenfold have done it before, and then who's your other one? Who's the third one?
Mate, don't forget
Queen of
fucking the
Stone Age.
best one.
Oh,
Seriously.
Queens of the Stone, Fox, how could I say Queens of the Stone Age? James's
You've done your research here,
fanboy.
guy.
Aye. So, I mean, is this year a good example? And you obviously had Bring Me the Horizon last year. Is this an example of where it is going when you
Oh,
don't have
yeah.
your Metallica and Iron Maiden every other year?
I mean, yeah, it definitely is. Like, I mean, we need to elevate like younger bands to headliner status. I mean, like you said, your Iron Maidens, your Kisses, your Aerosmiths, like, but even Metallica. I mean, who knows if they're going to be still around in like 5 to 10 years time? Like, we need to bring through these younger bands. I mean, it's tough, like, because the pool of headliners is getting smaller and smaller. But like I said, we need to take chances on these younger bands and elevate them up to cement them as headliners, or future headliners. Like, I mean, Andy took a leap of faith with Slipknot back in 2009 and had him headline Download then for the first time, and that was their first proper festival headliner, and it kind of cemented them as a proper festival headlining band throughout the world, basically.
I mean, I always refer back to that Slipknot example because the two biggest albums they'd already been released. They'd already
Yeah, yeah,
done the
exactly.
debut,
Yeah,
and Iowa had been out for years. They were cemented in that almost Korn slot, you know, like the main support special guest, and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
when
They're
they
always
played
like
everything.
penultimate. Yeah,
They'd done it. Download was the first one to say, right, okay, we'll take the punt, and then they're just, you couldn't imagine Slipknot not headlining an event. You just could not.
This is it now, yeah. I mean, same thing with Avenged. Like, they first headlined, I think, in 2014, and that was their first proper headline slot, and that cemented them as a headliner worldwide as well. So yeah.
Do you have any examples? Not this doesn't need to be about Download, but for any band playing Leeds Red and whatever, where a promoter's taking that punt and it's not quite worked out?
I'm trying to think. I can't think off the top of my head if there's anybody that's really like fallen flat. I mean, it's tough to say. I think the Darkness was an interesting one. They went from, like, I remember literally that first album, like, and they were headlining like Reading and Leeds like a year later. And that happened really quick. And then it kind of fell off pretty quick afterwards as well.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose it's tough to do when it does go that quickly. Maybe, I mean, Sleep Token have got a few more years than that, but maybe that was a case of you have Sleep Token headline this year and it does okay, but then that interest wanes. Then maybe in 5 years' time you're looking and saying, "Oh, that didn't work out quite the same way it did for Slipknot or Avenged Sevenfold." But aye, that's an interesting. Right, okay. Well, we get into the episode. First off, Lose Bruise. Pod 15, Cam. Pod 15. Have you tried to they do a download source, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does download source. Yeah. So I mean, I've known him for ages. So yeah, it's I mean, the Bosk sauce was fucking delicious, actually.
Yeah.
That was great on cheese toasties.
The boy, you hear this, Lou? We've even got Cam selling your products, mate. So,
Free advertising.
losebrews.co.uk, pod 15% off. And I think he's got download ones on there too, as well as his cheese ones coming, his Art Tangent ones coming, still get Damnation stock, cheaper. Fill your boots, guys. So, dissecting download. We are going to, the way, there's so much to ask you about, Cam, but the way we're going to do it is almost chronologically through the way we've done this podcast. So we'll just tackle each subject as we brought them up to the audience. So kick us off, James.
So, yeah, the first episode we did was about Dillinger Escape Plan and them coming back together with their original singer and just whether or not we'd see UK shows, and maybe they're going to be a download next year, or I don't know. I mean, do you have any thoughts on their reunion? Is it something that you've looked at?
Download, I mean, who knows? I mean, I love Calculating Infinity. When I first heard it as a kid, it blew my mind. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I couldn't get over how like mental it was. I mean, I would love to see him play that stuff live. I've never saw them at Dimitri. I was like slightly too young. Loads of my friends went to see him when they played with Botch on that first tour with him, and when they played I think they played the Underworld and the Old Angel in Nottingham. But yeah, I wouldn't say no to having me on download. Like again, we've had Dillinger play a whole bunch of times over the years. Yeah, and with Dimitri, it'd be something special.
Is that something? Because surely when that first comes up as a topic, surely like download's one of the ones that the agent's like, right, let's see what's happening there. Is it one of those ones that it still needs to work for a business point of view for download?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the price point's pretty expensive for him. Yeah, it's not cheap to book Dillinger with Dimitri.
Yeah, and at the same point, like when you said Pig Destroyer doing Prowler in the Yard is something that you're like, oh my god, I'm up for this, but you're not booking Pig Destroyer to do Prowler in the Yard for download, are you?
No.
I mean, so that's but
sorry, go on.
I mean, Dillinger did play download before, so there is a slight difference. Pig Destroyer's getting into more in that extreme niche, but at the same time, there's probably quite a lot of Kam Haq bands or what you're into that might not align entirely with what you're trying to do for download.
No, I know. Like, I mean, like there's definitely a whole bunch of bands that I would love to book for download, but I know it wouldn't fit or wouldn't make sense on download. For my personal taste, anyway. Like, as much as I'd love to book like Pig Destroyer, I don't think they'd go down well at download.
I mean, when you get offered a band like Dillinger, and the price point, as you said, is high, have you got flexibility within the download lineup to shift budget around the festival from different places to make interesting bookings like that happen? Or is it like they're second from top on the second stage. This is how much you get paid to do that.
I mean, we do have flexibility. We've got obviously an overall budget that we work to, but yeah, we do have certain like budgets set for certain slots as such. But sometimes if we need to make it work or if we need to move stuff around, we do. But yeah, it's we do have some sort of flexibility there. But our overall budget, we try not to like go past it. It's I mean yeah, especially in recent years, some of the fees are insane right now.
Yeah, I mean, is it a point? So you said there's 4 of you booking download? Is it like, Jenny, can I have 10 grand for your pot, please? Like,
Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah. I mean, Andy's the one who's really has the final say on stuff, but yeah, he's like, fucking hell, we can't be paying X amount for whatever. But yeah, it's a tough one. It is like it's a juggling thing sometimes, like trying to move stuff around financially. And again, the cost of touring is so expensive right now, and bands can't afford to go out for less than whatever like their tour budget says. So yeah, bands don't want to go out on tour and lose money basically. So
Have you found a big change since sort of post COVID and post Brexit
oh yeah, I
that's
mean,
making booking harder?
yeah, definitely. I mean, our operating costs for the festival alone have gone up at least 30 to 40%, like alone. And it's tough when you're saying to bands like we can't afford you because we've only got X amount budget. So yeah, it's not easy. It is a juggling thing trying to work out like can we have this band because they're costing X amount or this band's slightly cheaper, maybe it makes more sense to book them. Yeah.
yeah. So a fun one for us. We love the Bolly billing. You don't need to get any examples, Cam, of names of the bands, but tell me it's the same bullshit all the way to the top. Tell
Oh
me
yeah.
you never get a chance where you're like, thank fuck I'm done with that side of the business.
I mean, like for example, last year we did the festival lineup in full text in alphabetical order just to avoid any of the billing bullshit. I mean, in previous years we've had agents printing out the tour like sorry the actual lineup poster and like measuring it with a ruler saying, oh, this band's logo is X millimeters bigger than ours. And this band's logo is like X millimeters too close to ours. We need more space and whatever.
You're like, that band's got 3 words in it. I mean, that
Yeah,
band's only
exactly.
got 4
I
letters.
think it could be all down to the shape of the logo or like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. I mean, some bands have got a really long, wide logo and some bands have got like almost like a square box of a logo. So it looks small.
That Heilung logo. Oh my God. It's just
I,
not designed to fit on a festival
Yeah.
poster.
you dodged a bullet not having to deal with the Heilung logo for that to be in Texas. James's poster last year was fucking hell with his big blob in the middle. So last year, Andy says, let's go with Bring Me Horizon, roll the dice on them, and then when you're putting the poster together, Bring Me Horizon came out with a brand new logo, and it's like I mean, you could decipher it,
black
but
metal logo, yeah.
it's like a death metal logo instead of the nice,
Yeah.
clean Bring Me Horizon before. You must be like, shit, guys, this is a year we're trying to get people to know you're playing, and you've gave us this brand new fucking death metal logo.
No, I mean, like, people still worked it out. There was one incident once when Andy changed the logo of a band headlining the main stage, and didn't tell anybody. And the agent saw the poster before, literally 5 minutes before we're announcing, and went fucking mental. And Andy was on a flight, and I remember getting a call from the agent going nuts, going, "Fuck me, what have you done here? We need to change the logo back."
Wow.
James,
So
this makes me feel so good.
It does. So
So
you
yeah,
have
we
to
had
make
to
the
lay
call
it out.
then.
Sorry, was that?
You have to make the call then whether to change it or not, do you?
Yeah, well, we had to change it back. Yeah.
Oh, mad. So, I mean, so this year's because it's not a full A to Z this year, is it? And also, see,
No. It's back to normal. Yeah.
and when you guys have done that before, when you even get like the Hellfest style, like here's a bunch of logos at the top, here's some A to Z here, and there's a minor A to Z. You must have agents that are on your case saying we should be the next paragraph, like we should be the middle section, or
Oh yeah.
we should be the one that we could get a logo at the very end of that because that argument must just get changed to a different style argument.
Oh, it's a nightmare. I think the base we work on, I think it's the top 3 bands on the main stage get a logo. The the top 2 bands or 3 bands on the second stage get a logo, and then the headliners of the Avalanche stage and Dogtooth stage, they get logos.
Right.
And
So,
that's in your initial offers, is it? So it's basically like these are where
Uh,
you'll be, so you know you're going to get a logo or you're not going to get a logo.
Essentially, yeah. But yeah, we do get people trying to argue otherwise.
yeah, and I take it you get the same even when it comes to bill. Like, what is that band doing above my band? They don't sell any tickets. Chat.
I mean, for the most part, yeah, we do base like the lineup on on what tickets are sold, like what tickets what they're worth in London or what they're worth in the whole of the UK versus whatever. I mean, it's tough sometimes, that argument.
Yeah. And another favourite
You guys
topic.
deal with it all the time, so yeah.
Shall we move on to talking about one of our other hot potatoes? So you had Slayer's final ever UK show, right?
Yeah, in 2019, yeah.
So how do you feel about Slayer being back in the game?
I mean, I think they did actually say that they were kind of done with touring, but if any special events came up, that they might think about. I think they kind of left the book open slightly.
Okay.
Do
Do you
you
think
feel?
I don't think they never said never say never, basically.
Do you feel as a promoter though that you got your money's worth out of what that was supposed to be, because it was what was billed. It was the final
Yeah, it
UK,
was.
and to this point, is still the
Yeah,
final.
exactly.
There's
Yeah.
no looking back and done it. So there's no like sitting in the download HQ going, "Oh, we've been bumped a belt or there." It's about like, "Ah, we got our money's worth," and ultimately, if Slayer do return to the UK, you guys will book it again.
Yeah, I mean, well, I hope so. Anyway, yeah. But like, I mean, look how many final shows, like, well, final tours Kiss have had.
Yeah, they just seem to get away with it though. It's almost like expected with Kiss. It's just like, I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Aerosmith had similar, same with Motley Crue. Like, they've
Aye,
all had final shows, final tours.
part of the game. Okay, well, you're a bit more diplomatic with that than I think I'd be if I'd paid for the final show and then 3 years later they were suddenly back. I'd be a bit more pissed off. But aye, okay, good stuff. Talking another one, the hunt for headliners with our full episode and how difficult it is at our varying levels to get headliners, how long it takes now to get them in advance, the price that they've rocketed up to. How is that? I mean, I don't know if this is urban myth or Andy actually said it, but I keep seeing this thing re-quoted that Andy Copping said, "Oh, we put out so many offers and we couldn't get X amount of bands." Is that true?
I mean, yeah, for this year, it was tough. I won't lie. I mean, I think we went through like, I don't know, it was upwards to 20 bands we approached for headliners. I a lot of it like it depends on like whether bands like their schedule lines up with touring, or like whether they're recording, or whether it makes financial sense for them to do download, or like there's a lot of factors that come into play. And yeah, this year, like a bunch of headliners we approached Foo Fighters, they were doing their own thing. We approached Green Day, they were doing their own thing. Trying to think who else. Like we went after like a lot of big bands, but didn't work out, unfortunately.
Within Live Nation, that must be quite interesting, because some of they're doing their own thing is a Live Nation show, right? So
Yeah,
it might be a big outdoor show, or there might be a different festival.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, like Green Day are doing Isle of Wight, and then yeah, Foo Fighters are doing their own stadium shows. So I mean, it's tough sometimes. Like we do have the like we do approach other promoters within Live Nation and say, look, we'd like to have them on the festival. Like, is there any chance that you could suggest that we do download instead of doing their own show, or they're doing instead of doing Reading Leeds, they play download or whatnot. So yeah,
But is it like, so is it like, okay, Green Day are playing another Live Nation festival, we know they're going to, that we know they're going to do that, so we're not talking to them, or you're both fighting over the same band, or how's that?
sometimes we're at loggerheads, like trying to go after the same acts, but like I mean, we end up working it out, whatever makes sense for the band as well, more than anything. But
Interesting.
sometimes bands will decide they want to come in June, July, and they'll play like whatever festivals, like for example, whatever festivals are in that period. Or sometimes, for example, bands will come in August and do like do Bloodstock or do Reading and Leeds. So bands don't tend to stay in UK and Europe over summer, basically.
Yeah. And how? Go on, you go.
And how far now are we booking in advance? I mean, are the 2025 headliners in place now?
Not quite. We've got offers out on we've got offers out on all 3 headliners right now. And hopefully we'll know sooner rather than later, like what we've got. But yeah, we've had, I think we've offered out on we offered out on like 3 or 4 previous to our current ones that we got out there. But yeah,
what happens in a situation if you get 4 and come back and say yes?
I mean, we always like work it out. I mean, we looked at a kind of co-headliner situation like for the Friday this year, but that didn't work out. And yeah, I mean, look, it's sometimes tough. Like we do hedge our bets and hope that one confirms and the other one doesn't.
Have you got like a similar thing to how we would have, where we've got a list of bands that we really want? Like you've got your first 3 that you would want, but you know that one of them is probably never going to happen, but you still trying to get them, and you might just wait for that dream booking, or are you just being much more pragmatic and realistic?
I mean, we try and be realistic. I mean, we do start off with a wish list every year for headliners for sure, and then most of the time that does not end up looking like the actual lineup. But yeah, it is frustrating sometimes, like when it doesn't come off. But like we always try and book what's best for what's best for the download audience, the download audience want to see, basically. But yeah, it's I mean, this year was extremely tough headliner wise, trying to go through like who was available.
I mean, if you've got one that's up there on the board saying this is the one, I mean, I tell you that once you've got AC/DC, you've kind of done everything. But is there a Pearl Jam up there that you're saying, like, what's happening? Are we finally getting this band one year or not?
I mean, we've never had Foo Fighters, we've never had Pearl Jam, we've never had Nine Inch Nails, we've never had Green Day. Yeah, those are all like on top of the list.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they'll all be fantastic as well. And I take it then, if this continues struggle with headliners for some reason that we're all facing at all levels, that leads in Reading getting 2 of these. But so 9 Inch Nails might not be a full scale download headliner, but 9 Inch Nails with another band the size of 9 Inch Nails could be the way the Leeds and Reading do it. Is that another approach?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said, like this year we looked at a possible co-headliner situation for the Friday. But it didn't pan out. But I mean, yeah, it's definitely something we've looked at previously, and we could look at possibly in the future as well.
Okay.
There's something deeply satisfying about the fact that you're still booking your headliners, and I could feel your pain coming through the screen a little bit there, and it's like, yes, I feel that. We're all in the same place.
We spoke privately last year in Norway, Cam, and I swear to God, I left that dinner feeling so like relieved. Like, I was like, I'm dealing with all this shit, and I bet you Cam just because I'm a cigar each day, and it's just like, which one of these 6 headliners will we put in the
I wish it was that.
And he's like, no, it's not like that at all. And somebody's got a measuring tape out with a fucking poster, and we can't get this, and I'm getting shouted. I'm like, oh, it's the exact same no matter how high you climb the tree. That is reassuring.
There's been like a massive explosion of festivals in Europe in the last sort of 15 years or so, hasn't there? Is that must have a big impact on you in terms of competition over headliners?
Well, that, and I mean, look, if you look at in like the last 20 years, there wasn't I mean, there wasn't a Bloodstock, there wasn't a Slam Dunk, there wasn't a Damnation, there wasn't trying to think what else. It wasn't 2000 Trees, there wasn't Arctangent, and now you've got all these like smaller boutique festivals that eat like it's an ecosystem, like everybody can coexist, but like yeah, it does make it challenging to book certain bands for certain festivals because everybody loves the same bands sometimes.
Yeah, because that walks right across the border, because it doesn't matter how much you try to put in place, there's always going to be one festival will either pay over the odds or have that slot available. I mean, Agaloc's perfect. So we would have liked to lot for next year for Damnation, or even this year if they were available. I mean, but I've known for a wee while that they were going to play Fortress, which is good. It's great, good for Fortress, but even at that level, even at level between Fortress and Damnation, you're a bit like Aglock won't be able to play Damnation next year, and they would never headline Damnation, but they could play our second stage, and we won't get them because another event's got them, and then that just ekes its way up the. So then you guys might not have Architects who because they're doing Bloodstock, or you might not have Meshuggah because they're at Art Tangent. And then it's not particularly your Metallica or Iron Maiden at the top of your poster, but all the way down
Oh yeah, throughout the lineup,
lineups,
yeah.
you're having to fight continuously with all these other events to get it, because some other event can go and offer, because that's their biggest band, so they can go and offer the best money for it, and then suddenly they're not available for your event.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like it is tough. I mean, it's yeah, there's a lot of competition out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you're at the top of the tree of that, though, aren't you? It's the best, it's the easiest place to be. Like Meshuggah are not choosing Arctangent as their first. When their new album comes out, whenever they next release an album,
But I mean,
where they're going to play, they're probably going to play Download first, I'd have thought.
I mean, eventually, well, sorry, essentially, it's up to the band and the agent management. They make the decision, so I can't force them. Say you need to play Download.
No, sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd hope they'd play Download for the first play, but who knows?
Okay.
Amazing. Let's talk about should we talk about clashes? Because your Clash Finder came out today, as Gav said. So you've had some you had some feedback today.
Yeah.
In fact, Cam, the very first comment I saw, comment one, how can Limp Bizkit and Machine Head be fucking overlapping? It's like I hadn't even clicked properly, and it was somebody was complaining right off the bat.
I mean, it's brutal, especially when you got so many big bands playing at the same time. Yeah, it's not easy, and we've got obviously only so much time to play with as well because we've got a hard curfew at 11 p.m. so we can't go beyond that. Unlike the European festivals, which go on to sometimes 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning. I remember being at Wacken one year and watching Ghost at 2 a.m. in the morning, trying to stay awake.
But how much fiddling about do you do with your Clash Finder? Because like I would just the smaller stage, I would just move the bands around so there aren't awkward clashes. But have you basically got it all pretty much in order, and you've got to keep the order?
To a certain extent, I did move some stuff around on Friday. Actually, I actually moved Fear Factory so they weren't clashing with Pantera because that's like literally the same audience.
Yeah.
And then I made sure like Dying Fetus wasn't played the same time as Pantera. So like yeah, trying to give those bands a chance rather than like being like yeah getting absolutely destroyed by playing at the same time as Pantera.
Yeah.
But like for example, yeah, it like we try not like the more pop. If, it doesn't really matter for pop punk bands clashing against a death metal band or a heavy or a metal band. But yeah, we try and minimize clashes as much as possible, but sometimes it's almost impossible to avoid.
So with Limp Bizkit and Machine Head, presumably you know when you're putting that out that that's going to upset some people. But you're like, there's just nothing you can do there.
Yeah, it's like I said, we've only got so much time to play with, and we can't really, yeah, we can't avoid it basically. I think the most brutal one in recent years was a lot of people were complaining about Slayer and Tool in 2019.
That was pretty brutal.
Yeah,
pretty brutal.
Yeah, that one. I mean, we Slayer had to play like late on, so they could play in darkness a lot. They had a lot of pyro, and obviously, pyro doesn't look great in daylight, so we had to get them on slightly later, and it ended up having to clash with Tool, so it wasn't ideal. I remember the minute Slayer finished, running down to watch the last half of Tool, but yeah, I mean, it worked out great for me. I managed to see most of Tool, but yeah, it's not ideal.
So when you guys are putting in those 4 reviews and you're putting it all together, someone asked a question and said like they had inside knowledge that you book a stage each, which was not my understanding how it's done at all.
Oh no, not at all. No.
So you're all over the place. You're booking some for the main stage. You've got some in Dogtooth and everything in between.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. So like mainly like Andy and myself do a lot of the booking ourselves. Like and then Jenny, Danica, and Phoebe kind of like advise. Like we book by committee. Like and yeah, we do sometimes have a bit of an argument over where bands should be and what bands we should book. It's but we always come to an agreement in the end. But it's not
Aye,
easy.
so when you're sitting down, do the clash finder because you're a bit like someone's booked that band and they've got that slot and they're high on that. You're like you booked them, you want to see them with the biggest crowd ever, and then you come in with your Limp Biscuit and just slap it right over the top of them. And I'm like, hey, Cam, come on, move a bit of Limp Biscuit aside here.
And so, some of it's also to do with like crowd management as well. Like, I mean, sometimes like second stage can become a bit of a bottleneck, having too many people there, and like it makes it better easier if some bands are clashing basically.
Yeah, because you could conceivably have an absolutely monstrous crowd for Machine Heads because they haven't done festivals for so long, have they? I mean, they headlining a lot of main stages across Europe.
The
this
headline
summer.
in Hellfest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're having a real resurgence. Yeah. So I mean, like I said, like you said, they haven't headlined festivals. I think last time they did festivals like 2012. I think they did Bloodstock, and that was the last time they actually did festivals. So yeah, it was
Wow.
like 12 years ago.
And see,
Oh.
when someone's looking at the clash finder, they're going to be like, hold on a second. So on the Friday, you're going to have Queens of the Stone Age clashing entirely with Funeral for a Friend and clashing entirely with Biohazard and running, I don't know, 20 minutes into Busted. So all other headliners are going to clash with Queens of the Stone Age. Yet we're going to get to the Saturday and Fall Out Boy. I mean, there's actually a period of like 10, 15 minutes where there's no one playing at all, or 10 minutes between Pantera and Fear Factory starting. And then Fall Out Boy largely don't clash with anyone. So that's going to be a question I'm sure that's in there as well. Like, why are 4 headliners clashing on the Friday and almost none headlining are clashing on the Saturday?
Well, as I told you before about like Heilung, we had to get them on after 8 p.m. So that's why the second stage is clashing with the main stage on the Friday.
That's what I mean. There's something wonderful that the answer to your question is Heilung. I love it. It's basically like, why is everything a nightmare? Heilung.
Heilung.
They'll be worth it.
Yeah.
They'll be worth it.
Literally, they're going to be one of the highlights of the festival for sure.
Yeah.
For me, anyway, at least.
Lessons learned, Cam. We've done a full episode and all the fuck ups we've done down the years that we wish we knew better. You've been doing this for 22 years. What do you wish you knew when you've walked into some car crash?
God, I mean, Jesus Christ, I've had all sorts of everything you can think of has happened at one of my shows. Like, I was talking to my missus earlier about this, about like what, because you guys said, have you got any humorous tales? So I was like, only just embarrassing stuff that's happened to me over the years. Uh, one embarrassing thing was like, I remember one year, like this was like 20 odd years ago now. I had Exodus play Manchester, and it was the first day of the tour, and we agreed with the agent that they wanted to get paid wired after the show, and the tour manager was like, "Now, adamant, first day of the tour, we need to get bus driver paid. We need to get whatever for the bus." Like, so I was like, this is like at 11 o'clock at night or 12 o'clock at night on a Sunday. I was like, "There's no banks open, can't get any money." So I remember the tour manager was adamant he wasn't leaving the venue until he got paid. So I remember having to go with Paul Bostoff. I think it was Paul Bostoff and Rob Dukes, who just joined Exodus at the time, the singer, to wake up my flatmate and frog march him to the cash machine and Asda with Paul Bostoff and singer of Exodus in tow, to go and get money. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that was embarrassing to say the least. I'm trying to think of anything else. I used to promote a lot of hip hop shows, and this is me being naive. And I won't name the artist, but many years ago, I was promoting a hip hop artist, and he was like, "Oh, I want to get some girls to hang out with after the show." So this is in the early days of Twitter. So I posted on Twitter saying, "Any girls want to come and hang out with hashtag artist name, hashtag backstage, hashtag Manchester," or whatever. And I put it online, like thinking, "Oh yeah, hopefully you get some responses. Some girls will come and hang out with him." A couple hours later, I got a fucking irate phone call from the tour manager going, "What the fuck have you done?" The artist's like wife's on the phone threatening to divorce him.
Fuck.
Fucking hell, man.
I
Calm the Twitter pimp.
I had to ring up the artist's wife in the US and say that the only way I could get girls was by doing this. And I had to explain that the girls were from me, not the artist.
But that's women in America. It's
Yeah.
going absolutely mental. And you're
Why
saying
did the song?
the only way you can get girls is to use the artist's name.
Yeah.
Well, that's fucking brilliant.
That is amazing. Absolutely brilliant.
Calm. How did you make it to the top of the tree, mate?
Look, I was young and naive and didn't know what I was doing.
Did Ward ever get? I take it Ward got back to the artist as well. I think his wife must have.
Oh
been
yeah, he was pissed. Obviously, his wife was threatening to divorce him at the time.
Oh, Cam, that's a fucking cracker, man.
That's the most I've laughed on this podcast.
Oh,
I've got tears.
I didn't know there was like a
a
part B to that story that he was going to go like some simp. It's the only way I can get girls.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant, Cam. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, anything else you want to share with us? It can't be that good, obviously, but anything else?
I've had a number of TMs try to fight me over the years for various things, but one of the worst ones was like the TM of Black Dahlia murder years ago tried to fight me because someone had done a massive shit in the backstage toilet at the music box, and literally the whole venue just stank of shit, and he was trying to blame me for it, and he was trying to fight me outside the front door of the music box.
Fucking tour managers, man. Fucking tour managers.
But yeah, trying to think of anything else embarrassing I've done. Oh yeah, this came up the other week. Sorry, the other month. Actually at the Brit Awards. I was at the Brit Awards and sat with the Bring Me the Horizon guys, and they brought up like, do you ever remember that time you bought us Smart Price beer as a rider and Smart Price bread, and nothing to go with the bread, bread and beer.
Loaf of bread and beer.
Amazing.
Are your riders usually pretty good, Cam? Are you quite a generous guy when it comes to your riders, or are you the box clever with it?
I mean, back in the day, it depended on how the show was doing. Sometimes the band would get Carlsberg or they'd get beer deluxe from Asda.
Bring me Horizon getting fucking bread, smart price bread and beer, and they stuck with you. They stuck with you all the way to the top, mate.
Oh God, yeah. Did it say like, did you ever think we would be winning a fucking Brit Award when you were buying us that ride?
That must be that if you're a promoter's point, that must be great when you see bands like them and Architects. I mean, really.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
Going to get into the top. I mean, it's all very well Queens of the Stone Age or Metallica, Iron Maiden, like that you didn't have that connection with from. What was it? What's the name of the Satan's Hollow? Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Back in the day, I had Shikari play there. I had Converge play there. I remember when we had Converge play there, we had to pad the pillars because people were jumping off like the bar and everything. At Parkway Drive did their first Manchester show there. I think there was like 100 people there or something. People were circle pitting around the stage at Satan's Hollow is kind of weird because it's literally in the center of the room and it's like in a circle basically. The band are playing. So you can stand behind the drummer if you wanted to. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think who else I've had Gorgoroth play there, 1349, Chariot, like yeah, loads.
Are you done with all those shows? All the independent ones? Is it just Live
Oh yeah,
Nation?
when I joined Live Nation, yeah, just all my shows moved over to Live Nation. So yeah.
Yeah.
And does that mean there's a level of show that is too small to promote, or
No, not at all. Like I mean, I still do everything from like 100 caps to like to arenas, so and everything in between. So yeah, there's no show that's like too small for me to promote as such. I would never just say no to a band because they're at like 100 cap level or whatever.
Yeah, especially when that band becomes Sleep Token. You know what I mean? That's it.
Exactly. Their first show for me, like first headline show, was a 140 cap room in London. They played St. Pancras Old Church.
amazing?
10 minutes ago. 10 fucking minutes ago, and now look at them. Jesus, what a band. What a band. Right, the last one from this then, our favourite topic from all, riders, James.
Yeah, so I mean, we did just touch on it, but how outlandish do the riders get for you nowadays at Download? I mean, you must see stuff that you could never have imagined when you were promoting in Satan's Hollow. I mean, like in terms of the requests from bands and what they need and
I'll be
want.
honest with you, the bands when I was an independent promoter, the riders, sorry, were more ridiculous than the ones that we get nowadays at Download or whatever. I mean, like I was thinking back about this earlier as well when you mentioned, oh, you need to talk about some riders, and I was speaking to Fergal, MCD in Dublin, at DME, sorry, as well, and we were talking about the old Devil's Blood rider back in the day. I don't know if you guys ever worked with those, but
No.
incredible band from Netherlands, like unreal, like kind of 70s hard rock influence, but like fucking amazing band. But they had a thing. Well, every show was a ritual for them, and they would play covered in blood, basically, like head to toe, basically in blood. And their rider back then was like no blood, no ritual, no show. So I remember having to somehow source like I think it was like 6 liters or like well, not 6 liters, but a couple of liters of animal blood for them for the show.
Wow.
That I mean that was messy to say the least. We had to cover the whole stage and like in plastic and monitors and everything. It was everywhere.
And where do you go to the butcher and say, hey, listen, pal, I need some blood?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it's technically the butchers won't give you the blood like I don't think you can walk into a butcher's and get blood like that. But I think it was another band member from one of the support bands that managed to source it, I think, for me. But yeah, that wasn't easy.
I like that. You don't know where it came from. They just got
it
it for
happened.
you.
I don't
Yeah.
So, somebody showed up with. I mean, you think for the
The-
performance, guys. I mean, we could just do some fucking like food coloring and water, couldn't we? I mean, does
Yeah,
it need to
no,
be?
no, it needs to be actual animal blood. But yeah, I think they were very specific. I think it was like was it ox or bull blood or whatever it wanted to be. But yeah, I mean, I was trying to think of Gorgoths. Or was it Gorgoth or Tarka? I think had some crazy riders back in the day. Like, I mean, one of the Gorgoth riders, I think, had asked for a carpenter to erect crosses on stage and had 50 meters of barbed wire and animal heads.
Fucking hell! For Satan's Hollow.
Yeah, yeah. I remember getting the ride. I go, fucking, hell, I don't think we can get any of that.
And in terms of even though when you're saying then that you're because I feel the same a bit, but I feel like the riders you were getting 20 years ago at Damnation were a bit more adventurous and demanding more than you're even getting fed. Everyone just seems to have calmed down a lot, or they're a wee bit more into like let's not just waste stuff for the sake of wasting it. So when you're getting even the biggest bands at Damnation, they're more expensive to provide, but there's nothing there about like, oh my god, that's ridiculous. How could we ever get that? But when you're dealing with the headliners the size that you guys are dealing with at Download, there must be some crazy like separate compounds and fucking
Oh
dressing
yeah.
rooms that are getting completely tarted up, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, at Download, we usually have a headliner compound and then a second stage headliner compound. That's kind of their own like areas, and no one else can go in there apart from like the headliners or the second stage headliners. And then, I mean, like Metallica last year, we had to restructure our whole backstage to accommodate their gigantic compound for the whole weekend because yeah, they were there for the whole weekend. Like the band were coming in and just hosting friends and stuff like for the weekend. And yeah, they had a massive compound themselves, so we had to literally restructure our whole backstage to accommodate everything.
So do they spec for you exactly what they want in that
Oh
compound?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they tell you exactly how many cabins they need and what they need them set up as. Like yeah, for example, like Lars, James, and Kirk and Rob will all have their own dressing rooms, and yeah, it's some of the thing like even like bad like Slipknot and whatever else, they always have their own like separate. They want their own dressing room set up like how they would have it in like on a tour, like in arenas, basically. So yeah.
And to Madonna levels, I mean, do we getting carpets in there and flowers and certain types
Oh yeah,
of?
of course, yeah, yeah,
Of course,
yeah,
of course, Gav, man.
yeah.
What sort of daddy outfit you running there, Gav?
Yeah, yeah, no, no. Obviously, yeah, they want to touch a luxury sometimes. So yeah, people ask for like yeah to have like yeah proper carpets, like mood lighting and whatnot, and yeah, full length mirrors. Yeah, nothing too extreme. I mean, don't think anybody's expecting like 4-course meals and caviar and everything like that at festivals.
And the band of the moment. A follow-up question on this with Alan Bradford. The download, have you been given the same rider that James got for a band of the moment, Heilung?
Of course.
So there will be warrior training.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we had some questions asked from our production team about the nudity on stage.
I mean, I take it, but okay, that's part of the ritual.
It's tasteful nudity. It's unlike Cradle of Filth one year when I had him play at the Palladium, a very prestigious venue in London, and they had nuns with crosses used as dildos on stage.
For fuck's sake. Don't tell me that's new, Cam.
And no one told me anything about it. So
Is that what you meant when you asked for an old school set, Gav?
yeah. No one told me anything about it. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was sat there with the agent going, fucking hell, this is a bit blue.
Fucking no dildos, no party.
So how do you decide on your riders? You get like a band like Heilung who are, well, they're headlining my festival, so we roll out as much of a red carpet as we can for them and try and do that rider. But a band like that is not, they're probably the 20th biggest band that download this year. So how are you accommodating all riders, or how are you even?
We try and accommodate riders to as much as possible for the headliners for sure. But for the most part, it's like we have a standard festival rider, and it's always stated in obviously contracts and whatever like that. It's basically bands get a meal and like a standard food and drinks rider basically. So yeah. And we try and accommodate special requests. Like if a band really needs a certain type of like spirit, whatever, we'll get that for them and shit like that. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, we try and accommodate most special requests.
Yeah, and we can't discuss riders about towels. Tell us about towels, Cam.
Oh God. Yeah. I was telling you earlier, but I did a festival one time. This was quite a while ago now, but we had some band member that had a weird fucking towel fetish, like a dirty towel fetish. We caught him robbing like literally fucking 3 or 4 bin bags full of towels. I remember having the security to track him down.
Is somebody stealing their dirty towels?
Yeah. I was like, who the fuck wants to steal dirty towels? But yeah, apparently this guy has some weird fetish for that. But
Wow. What's I mean, because I was saying the most I've been asked for is 50. You must go higher than that.
yeah,
Metallica want more than 50 towels, right?
yeah. I mean, it's kind of unlimited towels. It's for a band like that. Like this, I mean, when you got probably 200 people on tour with you, yeah, you need a lot of towels.
200 people on tour with you. Wow.
And what big guest list? Without naming any bands. Who's got the biggest? Has there ever been like just an unlimited guest list? However many people they ask for.
I mean, we've had pretty extensive guest lists over the years. Sometimes I think we've had up to like 300 people on a guest list before, for like just for a headliner.
But man,
I mean, yeah, it's like we try and accommodate all headliner requests, but yeah, I think about 300 maybe, yeah. Like with the likes of Maiden and stuff like that, they come with pretty hefty guest lists,
yeah.
especially when they're a UK based band, then they get all the friends and family and stuff coming to the festival. Yeah, we try to accommodate all the requests. And like they had a massive, like I remember when they played in 2022, we had a massive we had 2 friends and family compounds for them actually. Like big fuck off tents in the guest area just for Iron Maiden basically. So yeah.
So you'd have the private band area and then a separate area or 2 separate areas for their friends and family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then presumably some of them want to watch, Steve Harris's mum wants to watch from the side of the stage or whatever, and you have to accommodate different passes for different bands.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, they've got a whole plethora of different passes. Yeah, they've got some crazy pass system. But I mean, yeah, Iron Maiden are very much, yeah, they do like to bring all the friends and family to shows, and they're very accommodating like that. And they always do some. What I love about Maiden is always in the friends and family compounds. They always do bacon butties after the shows. It's the thing that they do. I think it's
Amazing.
Nico like loves serving up bacon butties to everybody.
That's awesome. I mean, do you manage to? Because I always I kind of talk about the sort of 19-year-old boy in me when I'm booking some of my heroes, like an Opeth or an At the Drive-In. And clearly I'm not booking Metallica and Iron Maiden. Do you have to pinch yourself sometimes with just
Oh,
being like, I'm standing here chatting to Nico from Iron Maiden? Like, what the fuck?
fine. Yeah, Jesus. Like, I mean, like, and Andy's the one who books like the headliners. He books like your Metallicas, Iron Maidens, and whatnot. But yeah, when I get struck all the time when I see like James Hetfield from Metallica walking past me, I'm like, bloody hell. And again, Iron Maiden, like again, one of my favorite bands. Uh, I do have a funny story about them actually. Like a couple of years ago, well, I say a couple of years, 20 odd years ago, I missed my final university exam because of Bruce Dickinson flying the Flight 66 plane back from Iceland an hour late after his set. So I'd organized everything perfectly that I'd make my exam at 9:30 in the morning in Manchester after flying back from Iceland. Like he was meant to fly back right after the show, but he was I think he was a bit too tired and he flew back an hour late or something. So I had to go from Iceland to Stansted and then Stansted to Manchester. And I missed my connecting flight in Stansted to Manchester by literally like 30 minutes or something. And I ended up making it to my exam hall like a half an hour after the exam started and wouldn't let me in. So I had to lie to my my exam well, sorry, my tutor at the time. I had to lie to him saying I stayed up all night revising. I couldn't tell him I was in fucking Iceland with Iron Maiden.
I mean, he would have loved that. He or she would have
Yeah,
loved that story, though.
yeah.
Fuck's sake.
I looked disheveled and like and she said, "Oh, I stayed up all night and missed my alarm." To completely took some bullshit story, but I managed to reset the exam without any repercussions. But yeah, like I remember seeing Bruce a couple of years ago, and I told him that story, and he's like, "Well, look, you're doing all right for yourself now."
So, and what's it like flying Iron Maiden class?
I mean, that was it was a fan club thing actually. Like the I was a member of the fan club, still am. But yeah, like you could apply to go to Iceland with them, and we went. I think it was like was it 2000? I think it was 2005, and yeah, flew like Bruce flew the plane there and back, and like Nico was like giving out. He was like giving out free stuff on the plane, like just walking up and down the aisles saying hi to people. Same with Bruce. It was like the most surreal thing ever.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool that you were in the fan club and doing that sort of stuff, and now you're basically a peer almost with them. It's like that's a nice,
Oh yeah,
story, isn't it?
it's yeah, it's super cool. I mean, yeah, telling Bruce that story, he was laughing about it. He was like, "Ah, look, I didn't do any damage to you. You're fine."
Out of interest, what was it you're studying?
Oh God, it was computer science.
No one ends up doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, definitely not.
So this will be out. We're recording this on Tuesday, June the 4th. It'll be out on Thursday, June the 6th, which will mean the following weekend will be download itself. So before we let you go, let's have a quick chat about what's happening at download next weekend. What about let's go with 3 smaller bands over the weekend that are playing that we're excited about. And Cam, we will start with yourself.
Oh bloody hell, he's put me on the spot now.
And you've suddenly went completely dark as well.
Yeah, you've gone very metal, Cam.
oh really? Oh shit.
Coming at you from a Norwegian dungeon. Okay, Kam Haq.
1 second.
It's like the lights went out.
Let's see. 3 bands.
No, not 3 bands. So what? One band.
One band. Oh right, I thought you said 3 bands. Sorry.
One small band. One lesser known band that'd be like a choice pick for someone to go and check out they might not know before, and then we'll each pick one of the bigger hitters that
Okay.
check it.
Off the top of my head, Speed. They're playing the 4th stage on Friday. Incredible band from Australia. They're just about to release their first record. They've just released a video with a flute breakdown. That's the only way I can describe it. But they're one of the hottest new hardcore bands out there, and yeah, really excited to have them play Download.
That is a good shout because I'm going to recommend the band that play immediately before them, Ithaca. Some British sort of modern hardcore, not hardcore in the sense of madball or sick of it all, but hardcore is more of your Not Close style of approach. And I forget the front woman's name, but she's a fucking force of nature. Absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable on stage. And they are going to be that's a nice wee 1-2. If I manage to get myself down there, a wee Ithaca into a bit of speed with a flute breakdown sounds good.
Breakdown. Can't wait for that.
What about yourself, James?
I'm going to go for a band called Froze Mode. It's kind of like I mean, they're a rock band with sort of electronic and sort of hip hop influences. They played 2000 Trees last year and they're playing this year actually. And they're quite like small and newish, and the people loved them at Trees last year. So I'd really recommend people check them out at download. Froze Mode. They're
Incredible
really
band.
really cool band.
I tell you what, like, because they're also playing on the Friday, and then you've got the Callous Cowboys, who are worth a shout also, that are playing right after Froze Mode, well, 2 after one, and then you've got the great British band as well. So that is a peach.
That Friday on the Dogtooth stage is fucking amazing, actually.
I mean,
personally for me anyway.
Health playing later that day as well. That is Biohazard headlining. That is the stage of that day. It's an absolute cracker. Did you book Froze Mode, or was that one of your colleagues?
Yeah, that was one of mine. Yeah. So yeah, I think I booked most of that stage actually, to be honest.
I mean,
Did you say that Biohazard clashes with Queens of Stone Age?
Yes.
Was that?
I mean, that is a killer. Because
James, don't invite a guest on the podcast, right, and then start slagging them off with his clashes.
Mate, State of the World Address was a big album for me growing up, and yeah.
Mate, Urban Discipline was like one of my favorite hardcore albums. Well, it still is one of my favorite hardcore albums ever. I love that album.
Putting you right in the spot here, then. Cam, putting you right in the spot here. The Friday night, you've got Queens of the Stone Age, Funeral for a Friend, and Biohazard all playing at the same time. Where are you?
Fucking hell. I'm going to try and catch a bit of everything, but I'm going to be kind of stuck between Biohazard, Funeral, and Queens. I love Queens as well, so I don't really want to miss that set. It's going to be tough. I'm going to try and catch a bit of everything.
A diplomatic answer.
The correct answer is Queens of Stone Age, who are one of the best bands on the planet. They're just fucking amazing.
Yeah, untouchable live band.
Yeah, I saw them headline Primavera in 2014 maybe, and they're just great. It's tempting to think that their sort of thing might not translate to a big stage, but the way they do it really does. So good, so fucking brilliant.
And they've got such a huge catalog as well.
And their albums go all the way. A lot of people seem to think that they've tailed off, but actually some of their recent albums are amazing. So yeah.
You're a big Queens of the Stone Age man, aren't you, James? You're a big Queens of the Stone Age man.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And well, I'll start us off with bigger bands. Who else could you pick but Heilung? Now, they're just fucking incredible. They're just incredible. And if you don't really fancy the sound of like some sort of Nordic history lesson with some boobs on stage, just do it anyway. Go check it out. I felt the same about Warden Druna. And I went and I was like, there's no way I'm going to like this music. And I was completely transfixed. Heilung are like the party rave version of Wandruna. They're just more to it, and it just builds and builds. I mean, headlining Art Tangent last year was one of the best sets I've ever seen. I'm interested to see how it will go down with the download crowd. I mean, I think you're quite confident it's going to be a big hit, Cam.
I mean, that was a personal booking for me. Like, I love Heilung. Again, I do all their shows here in the UK, but yeah, like having them play Hammersmith last year was unreal. And yeah, I can't wait to have them play Download. I think it'll blow a lot of people's minds. I think some people like who have never seen him before kind of quite intrigued to see him as well. So
is there a production issue there for you, because they don't need a certain stage size, or does the second stage cover that anyway?
Yeah, we just about managed to fit everything on stage. Yeah, they've got a lot of stuff, and there's a lot going on stage. Like I can't remember. I think there's like at any one point there could be up to like 20 people on stage or something. So yeah.
I've been arguing with our production guys this year because they're like, yeah, we need this stage size. I'm like, no, you don't. That was for Heilung. It's like basically last year we had a bigger stage for Heilung. Now we're going back to
previous
It's
stage.
just like the stage they need is mad.
I know. Even trying to find venues to fit them in, it's difficult. I mean, it's not easy trying to fit all that stuff on one stage.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Right, bigger band, James, who you do not recommend Queens of the Stone Age.
Well, that was my recommendation, but I can pick one out of the air, mate, because I've talked about this band a lot, and the band are called Creeper, and they are playing main stage download, and they are fucking brilliant, and they should be the biggest band in the world. I think if the world was fair, Creeper would be massive. Yeah, I really fucking love Creeper.
Cam, it reminded
everything
me.
they do.
We're going to let this podcast slide, won't we? James's top 3 bands that you need to book for next year: Grave Pleasures, into Creeper, into Ghost. How do you think? How do you think
That-
Grave Pleasures get on in the same slot as Enter
Hang on,
Shikari
hang
or
on.
Sum 41?
What I was saying is those 3 bands would play across the main stage. It's fucking great idea. I'm sticking.
I love
sticking by
Grave
it.
Pleasures as well. Beast Mill, well, the previous band, yeah, it's the same thing. But yeah, I remember first having them play at Starngara and like on that first album tour, and they fucking blew my mind.
There you
I
go.
mean, Ghost are presumably a band that must be, if not a definite future headliner for Download, they must be one of the ones that's on your list of let's hope this band gets to the point of headline.
yeah.
They're perfect, really.
I've no doubt in coming years, like Ghosts will be a Download headliner. I mean, like the band they're basically like they're almost like the new Kiss.
Do, do you promote Ghost in the UK? Do you do
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I'm the promoter.
Right.
Yeah.
So look, you can steal this idea off me, and you should have Creeper as main support and Grave Pleasures opening. It's a fucking brilliant bill. Seriously.
I mean, I wouldn't argue with that. I mean, I work obviously I work as Creepers promoter as well. So yeah.
There you go. The
Who
agent's
knew,
probably
Cam? You
listening.
were going to come on here with these 2 diddly squat fucking promoters and they were going to teach you how to do your job.
Exactly.
Big band. I'm saying big, just a more popular, well-known band, Cam, that you would say do not miss this set over the weekend.
Well, I was already going to say Heilung as well, but
Hinged. Hinged.
Jesus Christ, let me think of someone else now. Mr. Bungle.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Bungle is a great shout. It's a great
Yeah, I
shout.
mean it's their first show in I think over 20 years in the UK. Well, sorry, they're going to play London and Manchester just before Download, which sold out instantly. And then yeah, they're going to do their first. I can't remember if they've actually played a festival before in the UK.
And you're literally just finished Speed. So not the drug, but the band.
Yeah.
And for there, straight across to Mr. Bungle. What a fucking day that Friday is. That Friday is a banger. James is on the edge about he's got building works going on at the house at the minute. It's like, well, I make it, well, I don't. I mean, we need to make the Friday, James. I mean, that's even get the Friday and then get your ass back to the road.
Yeah, that Friday is great. I mean, like we just talked about the fourth stage, like Dogtooth stage, with Froze Mode, like Callous Dire Boys, Ithaca,
Health.
Scowl.
Aye, that is a belter. That is a belter. Is there anything else before we go on to the record and on the record and wrap this up? Is there anything else you want to say about next weekend? About anything you want to highlight? Anything different? Anything you want to promote?
Keep your eye out for a secret band who got playing. Andy Copping, but he talked about it last week on another podcast, and set the internet on fire with it. But yeah, we've got a special secret band playing over the weekend.
Wow.
No
Where?
names.
Where would they be?
I mean, it could be anywhere.
We're going to ask you the moment this call ends, aren't you?
It's like, is there any? Did Andy mention the band, or did they just mention it was a secret slot?
You mentioned there was a secret slot, and ever since then, I've been getting people blowing up my phone all weekend, and every agent worrying that the secret band's going to clash with whatever band they've got playing.
Yeah. The problem is, because the last time we did Secret, it was well, not the last time probably, but the famous one is Metallica, isn't it? So,
yeah, I was there for that. I mean, I missed the first day of Download in 2003 to go and see Metallica play Riverside Studios in London. I think they played Say Anger like 3 times in a row, 3 or 4 times in a row for CD UK at the time, and then they did a full set after that. And that was insane seeing them play in front of 150 people. And then ended up meeting Lars and James after that, and I said, I hear you guys might be playing Download tomorrow, and they gave me a wink and said, maybe we'll see you there. So me and my friend like literally somehow managed to blag some press passes for Download the day after, and got National Express up to Derby. Never been to Donington before at the time, and literally like got there, I think, just as the opening notes of Blackened were being played, and that show was unreal. Like, but people back then, social media really wasn't a thing, and people didn't have like smartphones or anything like that. So it was like word of mouth that people found out that they were playing there, and there was no major announcement. And then um, I remember walking back off from the second stage where they played into the main arena, and just talking to some random people saying, "Oh yeah, we just saw Metallica." People were like, "What the fuck? What are you on about?"
I know, that was probably me, Cam. I was the fucking diddy sitting watching Flint by myself. I'm like, I know they're not a massively popular band, but I thought more than 6 people would come and see fucking Flint. But no, Evanescence and Flint took the hit for Metallica playing the fucking second stage.
Yeah, Jesus, I forgot about that. Yeah, still never got to see Flint, unfortunately.
Ah, well, I tell you, no one ever tells the story. I was lucky that day. I watched Flint when fucking Metallica were playing the second stage. You know what I mean? No matter how good Flint were. So, aye, that was a aye. So there's another. Well, is it a big? But when it does get revealed, is it a big band?
Yeah, it's a big band.
I mean, presumably there's a hole in the Clash Finder.
I'm
somewhere
looking at
that
it, but I'm trying to find where the fuck is the hole.
I'm not gonna say anything more.
He's like,
I
I do want to keep my job. It's gone so well to this point. We're not losing it in the the final minutes. Right. Okay. Right. Fair play, Cam. Thank you for doing this. Massively appreciate it. Let's end with a solid on the record. You've listened to a lot of these podcasts before, so you'll know that my taste far exceeds James's. But we might see something a bit different here. You get a bit. What have you got for us for on the record?
Eminence, Heaven Shall Burn. Amazing Swedish band playing the 4th stage on the Sunday. Definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of Architects. The singer plays a violin as well, which is pretty special.
Okay, Eminence. Perfect. James, what have you got for us?
Well, I thought this would be good for you, Gav. So I am going to recommend Machine Head. The song is Aesthetics of Hate. So just if I wasn't clear previously, The Blackening is a solid 10 out of 10 album. This song's got like everything that you want in a Machine Head song. I think you struggle to find a better metal solo like 3/4 of the way through the song than this. This is like a dual. It's a bit cheesy, but there's like a dual, like the guitars going in and out of each other thing, and it's a fucking solid banger of a song. I mean,
it turns out in retrospect, when I actually checked out the fucking Blackening, I recognised half the. I mixed it up with another.
How have you never heard that?
I mean, I obviously have now. It's like I fell into that trap. I thought that Through the Ashes Empire was the highlight moment, and I mixed the Blackening up with like The Locust or Swarming, or whatever the fuck they released after that. And that's as soon as I went back to the list, I'm like, I fucking know that. I mean, I've seen these songs played live. I mean, I know the aesthetics I hate. So, I'm taking my L. Okay, I'm taking my L.
I'm going to get Bri to cut this bit of podcast and just send it to me. I can just listen to it.
Just me and repeat. Where do you stand in the Machine Head conversation? Are you going with Cam? Is The Blackening their highlight? I mean, except for like Burn My Eyes, but of the more like the last 20 years, is The Blackening the highlight?
I mean, I love Through Ashes of Empire, and then God, it's a tough one to choose between those two. And Locust, I mean, it's still a solid album as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right, I'm saying nothing more about fucking Machine Head.
Why are you hating on the Locust?
They must have a shit album, right?
Oh, mate, fucking hell. They have.
Cam's like, I'm the UK promoter. They have never
Cam can't tell
song
you
that isn't brilliant.
Some of their latter output, they're the most inconsistent band in metal, but when they're at their best, we're absolutely wonderful.
Okay, Burn My Eyes is still untouchable though. It's like
Burn My Eyes is a special record. I suggested going to see Ithaca, and I suggest you go and listen to them. The song I'll go is In the Way. and say just a ferocious banger. It comes in just 3 minutes of just pure modern hardcore energy. It's class. So yes, that will round that off. Brilliant episode. Thank you so much, Cam, for joining us. I hope to see you next weekend. And we'll go see some cracking bands.
Yes, can't wait for it, mate.
Thanks a lot, Cam.
Thanks, guys.